Hello everyone, my name is Noor and welcome to this new video. Today a new long-running video series will start on this channel called Airport Briefing. Normally videos on this channel are in Dutch, but for the purpose of this episode and the video series, a version in English is also available, which will be this video. In Airport Briefing, each episode we discuss an airport in which we touch on the specifics that are particularly important when landing or departing from this airport with VATSIM. Every airport is different and has many different and own rules. This video series should provide an overview for every pilot who likes to fly online on VATSIM. In this first episode, we must of course start with our own largest airport, Amsterdam Schiphol. Amsterdam Schiphol is the Netherlands' own major airport and is also one of the more popular airports to arrive at or depart from on VATSIM. On VATSIM, Schiphol is even in the top 5 most visited airports in the world. Due to its fairly central location, Schiphol is a major hub for KLM among other airlines. And that means that you can get to many places from all over the world from this airport. The airport has 6 asphalted runways. The minimum length is 2020 meters of runways 04 and 22, and maximum length is 3800 meters, namely 36 left and 18 right. The most commonly used runways are in particular runway 2406 and 36 left, 18 right. The taxiway layout looks very complex at first glance. Although there are many taxiways to connect all runways and gates, there is often only one possible way to get from A to B within the airport or vice versa. This is partly due to the fact that there is a standard direction for taxiing at Schiphol on taxiways Alpha and Bravo and Charlie and Delta. This means that you always taxi on the right hand side around the center of the airport. For the direction of travel on the aprons, there are arrows on the charts that clearly indicate the standard direction of travel. Due to this structure, the taxi instructions can be quite short and simple. An example follows below. A common situation is that runway 36 center has to be crossed to get from runway to gate or vice versa. Runway 36 center is rarely used simultaneously with another runway, so you often get a direct clearance to cross it. For example, after landing on 18 right, the taxi instruction often follows the following structure. KLM 125, welcome to Schiphol, taxi gate Delta 53 at Whiskey 13, cross runway 18 center. If you look at the taxi charts, you will see that you can get to Whiskey 13 via Victor, that you can then immediately cross 18 center, and that from there you can get to gate Delta 53 via Delta and Alpha. Due to the one-way arrangements, the taxi cannot actually take place in any other way. And this makes the taxi instructions shorter and predictable. The opposite is also true. From gate Delta 53 you can also get a similar instruction to taxi to runway 36 left. KLM 125, taxi holding point runway 36 left at Whiskey 5 cross runway 36 center. You may be asked to taxi through Quebec. This is a taxiway to the south of the airport. This occurs if you've been assigned a gate at Alpha, Bravo or Charlie. This is then a shorter taxi than via the north side. It should be noted that the charts differ slightly from the currently available scenery. For example, part of the taxiways at Quebec have been doubled so that traffic in 2 directions is possible. However, this is not yet fully simulated because the available scenery has not been adapted to this. It is expected that Flight Tampa's Amsterdam Schiphol scenery will be adapted to this for Microsoft Flight Simulator. For departures from Schiphol, there are a few other important things. When you are cleared for your flight from Schiphol, you will always receive an initial climb of flight level 60. Realize that this is always at standard pressure and this is not equal to 6000 feet. That is why you should always read back flight level 60. Furthermore, you should always follow the pushback direction as written out on the charts. You can use the charts in Navigraph for this, or the charts published on the website of the Dutch VACC. See also the video description. Schiphol also has a so-called auto handoff. This means that you may switch to the next ATC frequency on your own initiative in a few situations. One of these moments is just after takeoff when passing 2000 feet. Of course, this can be overruled by tower ATC. They will then give you instructions to stay on their frequency until further notice. For outbound traffic, there are 7 different fixes that the standard instrument departure guides to: Woody, Lopik, Edupo, Arnhem, Andik, Burgi, and Idrit. Some SIDs are not named after these fixes, for example Spijkerboor for Victor departure. This SID leads you to Andik, but it is called differently. This is done to prevent SID blunders. For runway 36 center there are no SIDs to Burgi and Idrit. However, you may get clearance from these runways. You will then receive separate departure instructions from delivery for after takeoff. This is then a non-standard departure. However, this rarely happens. An example is as follows. KLM 1009er cleared to London Heathrow, runway 36 center, squawk 6260, report ready to copy additional departure instructions. After you have done the readback, here are the instructions. KLM 1009er, after departure, turn left to track 341 degrees magnetic, climb to flight level 60, expect vectors to Idrit, when passing 2000 feet, contact departure on 121.2. Before submitting a flight plan, you must take some rules into account regarding the cruise flight level. For example, depending on the direction of flight, the cruising altitude is an even or odd altitude. If you fly to Germany, you will get an odd altitude. If you fly to England or Ireland, you will get an even altitude. Also good to know is that flight level 250 is not available for cruise flight. The reason for this is that at flight level 245 there is a transition phase from Amsterdam to Maastricht Upper Area Control. For arrivals, entry into the Netherlands is possible via 8 entry points, the most commonly used of which are the following: Eelde, Norco, Rekken, Deenut, Hellen, Lamzo, Toppa and Redva. The arrivals eventually end up at one of the 3 initial approach fixes with the name Artip, River or Sugol. After performing the arrival, you can expect vectors. It may also be that you don't get vectors but have to fly a follow-up fix. An example is that after Artip you have to go to Pampus, and after that you get vectors for runway 06. So keep in mind that you can also get a direct to fixes or VORs that are not on your flight plan. You can also expect a direct to one of the intermediate fixes. This is often the first point on the ILS of a given runway. An example of this is Osron for runway 06. Because the final approach is often done using vectors at Schiphol, it is advisable to carry out the vectors as well and as soon as practicable. This prevents you from missing the localizer. And there is also an auto handoff for arriving traffic after you've left the runway. Then you have to switch from Schiphol Tower to Schiphol Ground yourself. If there are several controllers on ground, you often get a remain on frequency after landing. Then there are a number of details for the approach that mainly apply at night. A number of transitions have been published for the night. You may be asked to follow them. Generally, you follow the RMP transitions if there are good weather conditions and good visibility. The minimum visibility must be 1500 meters. The night transitions are not available for all runways, only for runways 06, 18 center and 18 right. The night transitions ensure that the aircraft do not fly over an area that is too populated and serve as a protection against noise pollution, among other aspects. An example of how such a transition is flown can be seen here. Selecting such a transition is of course done via the computer on the flight deck. In the Airbus, you can do this by pressing Arrival, select your standard terminal arrival route, and then select the runway. Finally, you can also select the transition here. For example, RTIP 1 Charlie for runway 18 right. The type of approach is linked to the transition. The FMC automatically filters for available transitions where you select the type of approach, for example ILS or RMP. As a general tip for all phases of your flight, but especially for the arrival, it is always useful to brief the arrival properly before you arrive at the initial fix of the arrival. Proper planning of your descent is essential, and it makes flying in the busiest phase of your flight a bit easier. Make use of METARs and ATIS information as well. To conclude, I will show you some useful tools on the website of the Dutch VACC. For example, you can use the Gate Finder. The Gate Finder shows you a gate where you can start your flight with your specific airline and route. This is a realistic reflection of real-life use of gates by airlines. You can also find the active runways on the website. If there is no ATC available, you can still check here which runway can best be used for your departure and arrival. This is also a reflection of the actual runway use at Schiphol in real life. This can be deviated from on VATSIM in specific circumstances. If you do not use Navigraph, you can also find frequently used charts on the website. These are available for free of charge and therefore make it possible for everyone to consult the charts properly. In the description of the video, you will find all links to external sources for more detailed information. I also recommend looking through the Dutch VACC pilot briefing as it contains a lot of useful information for pilots. This was airport briefing of Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Which airport would you like to see next time? Please let me know in the comments. If you have any tips or feedback about the series, I'd love to hear that too. Thanks for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to see video suggestions in the comments. Subscribe to not miss any videos and streams, and also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Also, you can visit my website, DutchSimPilot.com. All links are in the video description. See you next time.